Hello and welcome to the Gambling Files podcast. This episode, we find ourselves in a contemplative sort of mood. I'm one of your hosts, Jon Bruford, joined by your other host, Fintan Costello. Fintan, hello.
Hello, John.
Now, Fintan, did you know that from the very first episode, I've been introducing you in almost exactly that way?
Yes.
Do you know who our first ever guest was?
It was...
Wrong.
Oh.
Nope.
Was it the watch guy?
Nope. Fucking no. He was miles in.
Alex? No, was it?
Fintan.
Was it... I can't remember. So long ago, John.
The first person that wasn't you or me to talk on this podcast was Tom Neiman.
Wow, what a way to start.
I know, right?
Go strong. It's been a downward slope ever since.
Pretty much has, yeah.
Thanks, Tom.
Aim high. Is it aim for the stars and you might land on the moon or something like that? Aim for the stars and you might end up in the cold vacuum of space. That's probably more accurate.
Nobody can hear you scream, I know that much.
It's true. It's true. Yeah. Ooh. But anyway.
Mm-hmm.
How are you? All right?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Great. I took a week off last week.
We both did. Well, I took a few days off.
It was weird, though.
Why? It was midterm break?
Yeah, but I don't take time off generally.
I know.
I'll always work a bit, but I didn't.
Look, I think there's a fallacy around, like, it's a bit like, I always think it's a bit like exercise, right? So,
which I also don't do.
But there's this weird thing where if you exercise, you've got more energy, right? Which is this weird counterintuitive. You think you'd be more time, right? So you got more energy. Actually taking time off and putting the laptop away and having proper downtime doesn't make you less productive, because when you come back, you've got more energy and
I'm buzzing.
More done.
Buzzing.
For sure. So, I always try and at least take, say, Saturday off. Just try and not do anything work related on Saturday.
Well, I usually, I don't do anything work related on the weekends because I've got the kids.
Yeah.
But actually, this past weekend, I didn't have the kids.
Well, your kids are younger as well, so it's a bit different. But
yeah, they're crazy, crazy kids.
Yeah, I'm good. I had a bit of time off, so I went back to Ireland, saw the family, did all that. Presented the grandchild, let him be worshipped and adored. And he did the rounds, collected all the cash, came back with a pocket full of 50s and absolutely buzzing himself. Yeah.
Did you do anything else while you were in Ireland?
Had some lovely Guinness, creamy pints of Guinness.
Anything else?
I got my haircut.
That's right. I was waiting for you to get to that. You've had a big haircut.
Big haircut. Yeah.
How does it feel? Is your neck cold?
My ears were cold. It was really fucking cold out.
Struggle is real.
My ears were freezing. Yeah, that was like, who knew?
No, it's very, very true.
Yeah, I lost some insulation there.
Yeah.
But that's fine. So yeah, I did that and I was in Bristol for a couple of days.
Bristol?
Yeah, that was nice.
Why were you in Bristol?
Visiting family. And
well, Lorna, who did our graphic design materials for this very podcast, is moving to Bristol in a couple of weeks.
It's fantastic. It's a great city. We had some great food. We had some amazing barbecue, like just brilliant. Everything felt very affordable and really high, like just great restaurant opportunity, great restaurant choices, lots of bars, good food. Yeah, it was nice. Really nice.
Well, I mean, it makes a lot of sense for her because Lorna's like, what is she, 28? She'll be 29 shortly after they move. My stepdaughter. And her her side hustle is she's a drum and bass DJ.
Oh, you sent me the videos. Yeah, cool.
Yeah. And actually, I would think Bristol would probably be a great place to
Well, you got the university. You've got like the demographics.
nightclubs.
Nightclubs. Basically. There's a nightlife. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's very. I mean, obviously, I'm gutted that she's going, but at the same time,
Just got to go lead her life.
dude, if you love somebody, set them free.
While if you're young, go live in a big city for a while. That's where the opportunities are, for sure.
Yeah. I lived in a couple of cities. It was all right.
See?
I wouldn't do it now.
No?
I don't think I would. Well, do you know, maybe I can think of two cities that I would live in. Ljubljana in Slovenia. I thought it was just absolutely lovely.
Mm-hmm.
And size-wise, it's comparable to the other city I would live in, which would be Norwich in the UK. Well, Norwich leads us nicely on to our guests for this episode.
Segue. I love it. It's like we've been doing this for 3 years, John.
I know, it's amazing. We're like a well-oiled machine. We're well lubricated, Fintan.
Greased.
Like a monkey. Like a pig in an American county fair at the turn of the last century. I don't know where that came from either. No, but yeah, so we're talking to the chaps from CogniPlay. So we're talking to Al Turner, CEO, and Gavin Walters, the CCO of CogniPlay. And CogniPlay is a sweeps and social casino platform provider, some of which is based in Norfolk, just outside Norwich, which is a lovely city. Brilliant. So it does tie in.
It does.
But that's not why I brought it up. I don't know why I brought it up, but it just seemed to, do you know what I mean?
I've never been to Norwich. I've never been to either of those cities, Norwich or whatever the other one was.
Ljubljana.
Ljubljana.
Well, Ljubljana's like 250,000 people, something like that.
Is that really a city? That was just a big town.
Yeah, that's a reasonable sized city by most standards.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, you're in Amsterdam, which, you know, what's the population of Amsterdam?
I don't know, a couple of million.
Okay, that's quite a lot. That's a fairly large city.
Got it.
Bear in mind, in the UK, there's only 2 cities with populations greater than 1 million.
Really?
Yes.
London and...
Birmingham. Everywhere else, I believe, is under 1 million.
Wow. Fun fact.
But yeah, so cities over, there aren't that many, especially in Europe where there's generally older infrastructure.
Got it. Clearly, I'm just a big city guy. Who knew?
I think you must be. How many people are in Dublin?
1.5 million. Something like that. It's where all the jobs are, so everyone moves to Dublin.
Yeah. And there's only 2 cities in Wales, and neither of those are anywhere near 1 million. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So Ljubljana is definitely a city. It's a very lovely city. If you get the chance to do perhaps a nice city break for yourself and your long-suffering wife, it's a beautiful city, lovely cafe culture, and great food, because great influence from all of the countries around it. Italy, Hungary, etc. There's some really interesting food there. So, you know, it's good. I like it. I like Slovenia. Just saying. Speaking of liking Slovenia, one of our sponsors is Clarion Gaming, who organise ICE, which has several Slovenian companies exhibiting at it. That's not quite as slick as the other one, was it?
Oddsmatrix must have an office there.
I would certainly hope so.
And I'm sure Optimove have clients there as well. So there's a link to all our sponsors.
Yeah, I certainly hope all of those people have clients there. So in case you're new to the podcast, we're alluding to our benevolent corporate overlord sponsors, Clarion Gaming, organisers of ICE, which was recently a huge success in Barcelona.
And now their next event's going to be IGB.
Yeah, IGB London.
IGB London?
Which is July, isn't it?
Which is formerly known as IGB Amsterdam. IGB.
I wonder why they changed the name. 2nd to the 3rd of July.
There we go. 2nd and 3rd of July in the XL. Oh, wow. Okay, it's in the XL.
Wow.
That's big.
It is.
They're going to have lots of stuff. Okay. Interesting. I shall have to organize my trip. Okay. Sorry, I'm just reading the website.
And any listeners that are on a budget, look for somewhere to stay on the Elizabeth line. I stayed around Paddington, where there's a stack of cheap hotels, and it's only about 25 minutes door to door. But anyway.
I stay in Canary Wharf.
Because you're a top gambling industry executive. I am a mere peon, and I stayed in Paddington.
It's okay.
It really wasn't.
I hear it's up and coming.
No, it's down and sliding.
Down and going was in the
down and gone. Optimove.
Oddsmatrix. Yep.
Optimove are
no, sorry, not Optimove. Sorry, yeah. Sorry,
what?
No,
what?
Ignore me. I got confused.
Jesus Christ! Are you having a brain fart?
It's a long day.
It's all that executiving. It'll wear you out.
Let's start again. Optimove. Tell me all about them.
Yeah, well, they're CRM software specialists. They recently launched OptiLive at ICE, which incorporates the best of their sort of CRM intelligence combined with live in-play betting, which is really, it's really something.
Real-time alerts, right?
Yeah.
In-play, which is...
Real-time, intelligent, tailored alerts. I mean, this is cutting-edge optimization, isn't it? Cutting-edge optimization, cutting-edge personalization, I should say.
And it's not just big data, it's fast data.
Well, that's the thing. It's not just big data; it's small data.
Well, one of the best presentations I ever saw about big data was exactly that line. That big data is all about small data. And if you don't have good small data, you don't have good big data. And that was basically his presentation.
I've been telling everybody for years, Fintan, that I'm ahead of my time.
Well, I'm not surprised.
A lot of people have said to me that they wish I'd been born in 50 years' time instead of now.
Oh, really?
Maybe they just think that I'd be more comfortable in the future.
That's definitely one positive interpretation.
Accepted better by my peers. And Oddsmatrix.
Yep.
What do they do, Fintan?
They are the sportsbook part of the Evermatrix group. They've got 300 clients where they're providing sports betting software. How would you even describe it? They've like we're talking about live betting. They do 170,000 live betting events a month, 150,000 pre-live. They've got bet builders. They've got huge operators like Bet at Home in Germany. They work across 20 markets. They can localize to any country. 300 plus clients. Like they're just brilliant. They are great at sportsbook software, and you should absolutely have a call and do the demo and see what's going on. And what's really interesting is just the steady kind of drumbeat of all the great stuff that they're doing. Like there's so much like new client, new kit, new client, new kit, there's a lot going on there, and they're investing heavily in the product, and it's really starting to show. And I think they're great, and they're lovely to chat to and stuff as well. So it's really nice.
Yeah, nice t-shirts apparently, I'm told.
They do a great water bottle.
I bet that water's tasty.
Oh, it's so good.
I'll just drink this out of my shitty old pint glass.
My gold chalice.
That's the worst water I've ever tasted. If only I had a golden bottle to drink it out of.
There you go. Well, that's it.
Curse you, Fintan.
That's it.
So, yeah, I mean, I guess that's this episode, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, just we're going to talk about sweeps. And
Yeah, totally.
a bit about that. And my favorite expression was coin ecosystem. I love a coin ecosystem. It's brilliant. So
Weirdly, I was when you were talking about coin ecosystems, it just it got me thinking about currency in Egypt.
a natural segue.
But no, because unusually, or relatively unusually, Egypt has like 4 tiers of currency. So you've got small coins, small notes, bigger coins, bigger notes.
Okay.
Which means if you're getting change from a taxi driver, be very, very careful.
Oh, did you have a bad experience?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
But I may have had to shout at somebody.
He had a bad experience.
There's probably an Egyptian taxi driver podcast airing right now where the bloke's saying, I had a bad experience with this.
When was the
fucking
last time
English
you were
dude."
in Egypt?
Do you know what, right? It's been a while.
I was going to say, like...
So I got my first passport when I was 26 or 27.
Oh, late bloomer.
Yeah, totally. And that passport, by the time I'd gotten rid of it, by the time it had expired, like people were stopping me at to check my passport at customs, etc. And they just look at the passport and go, Jesus, you get around. The first flight I ever took and the first foreign country I ever visited was Egypt.
Wow.
And it was very cool. Partly because I went to an area where English people don't go. It was nice.
Did you ride on a camel?
Yeah, I did actually. His name was Oscar.
Oscar the camel, very Egyptian.
Yeah. Next episode, I'll tell you the story, if I haven't told it you 5 times already, of the famous Slovenian drinking establishment, English Pub.
Oh, we've had that one recently, mate.
But you never know when you've got new listeners. Meet.
We'll timestamp it.
It's got to be some way to put an alert in this recording software. Like one of those game shows where you're not allowed to repeat a phrase. You just come up alert, repetition. Meet Al and Gavin from CogniPlay.
Enjoy.
Hello and welcome to the... No, hang on. We're probably going to record a separate intro for this, aren't we? So this week's guest on the Gambling Files podcast, guests are Gavin Walters, CCO of CogniPlay, and Al Turner, CEO of CogniPlay. I'm surrounded by C-level people in so many ways. Now, chaps, what's CogniPlay? Just in case anybody is not familiar.
Yeah, so CogniPlay is a sweeps and social casino platform. We launched the company officially in May of last year. Obviously, we were doing some development work to get the platform market ready a long time prior to that. Essentially it was born out of looking at the sweeps and social casino space and seeing that there was probably a little niche in the market there for some more platform providers that were concentrating on sweeps. Obviously a lot of the other providers or back offices that were available at the time kind of were more of a turnkey solution. We felt that we could get a lot closer to a white label solution for sweeps customers to make the go live process a bit simpler, and that's where CogniPlay came from, really.
Okay, now stop me if I'm wrong here, but you're based in Norfolk in the UK.
Yeah, the hub of online gambling in sunny Norfolk. Yeah.
Well, not all of us, but part of us, yes.
Where are you, Gavin?
So I'm in Cheshire, but we also have like a Bournemouth office. One of the C-level guys is also in Brussels, so we're all a little bit spread as well.
They're all quite posh areas as well, so you must be doing all right.
It shows the success of our previous ventures, doesn't it? So that's where we've come from.
That must be. I've lived in Norfolk 3 times actually.
Oh, yeah? Where did you live, John?
Well, I lived in Norwich twice.
Yeah.
'Cause it's a fabulous city, and I lived in Bungay for a year
Oh, nice.
on the border with Suffolk.
Yeah, I live in Wyndham, which is about 10 miles south of Norwich. So, yeah, I live
Yeah,
in a house in the countryside with very few neighbours. Plenty of sheep, not many animals.
is that near say 10 miles south of Norwich?
Yeah, about that.
So I'm trying to think. I had some friends living in a village there, Wootton.
Yeah, Watson. Yeah,
Yeah,
Watton's 5 miles down the road.
sweet. I did some biking around
The
there.
hub of online gambling. I sort of moved here because I worked at Bigo Group, who were based in Norfolk. So I moved from Gibraltar at the time to work for Bigo Group, and met a girl in a bar, and now got some kids, and very unlikely to move anywhere else. So.
I thought the next part of that was going to be, and then she sued, and then, but must have been quite a shock going from Gibraltar on a big rock to Norfolk, which is famous for being reclaimed land and basically flat.
I know. I sort of had reverse altitude sickness for a brief period when I first moved here.
I was sick quite a few times when I was there, but probably for very different reasons.
I was as well when I first moved here. And,
yeah, there's a lot of really good beer around there.
yeah.
So we're talking. So sweeps and social, right? Now, I'm going to assume that you can speak freely about this, but sweeps and social is what's the market globally? I mean, everybody talks about it in the context of the US, but is this a global thing?
Well, I mean, we basically have 2 products, right? So one of them is a pure social casino, which is, traditional in the sense that people buy virtual currency in packages of gold coins or whatever virtual currency they have on that particular site. They essentially play for fun on slots with that virtual currency, but they can't cash out. And there's no withdrawals or redemptions or anything like that. So that's kind of the core product. Obviously, that is not legally gambling anywhere on the planet. So that's a true global product. And then we've got the Sweeps Casino product, which is essentially the social product. But then, of course, on top of that, you're layering Sweeps coins, postal entries via AMOE, and some other functionality. So they're both sort of built on the core of virtual currency essentially, and being able to purchase packages of virtual currency. But for the Sweeps product, we only operate in the US. We have a legal opinion that allows us to operate in over 40 states in the US at the moment.
Wait, I'm sorry if this is a stupid question, but it's not going to be the last one you hear today. What is there a particular reason why Sweepstakes is a North American product? Is there a? I mean, that's what I don't get. Why is Sweepstakes basically North America?
Well, I don't know, Gav. What do you think to that?
My answer to this is always that it's because the legal online casino space is just so sparse, right? You've got about 5 or 6 states at the moment fully away with it online. The other reason is there's a lot of land-based sweepstakes stuff that goes on. Nobody really knows it, but in every state it's got their own land-based places you can go and do this type of activity. Some have got little apps that they do it, but not everybody. So people have been used to doing this kind of thing, but different, let's say. It's very old school. Now, when it came online in the way that we do it in Europe, I mean, it looks like more of a casino and it looks like a more traditional player experience. They have taken to it, and because of the limited options they've got elsewhere, the demand is huge because of it. That's generally the reason why.
Yeah, and with regards to the size of the market and stuff, I think that you mentioned in that question as well. I know that last year it's roughly $10 billion. There was roughly $10 billion dollars deposited on sweep sites in the US last year.
I think that's a very conservative estimate, but Here's what I don't. I guess this is the crux of what I don't get here, right? Sparsity of casino product in the market. Totally get that. But then why isn't it also massive in Asia?
Well, true. I mean, with sweepstakes legislation in the US, it's obviously very old legislation. It's way over 100 years old for sweepstakes. So it's a very embedded part of their culture, actually, sweepstakes as a product, which is, I think, why people get it in the US. It makes most sense in the US.
Okay.
And I sort of think that combined with what Gav was talking about, sparsity of products, good casino products and regulation in a lot of the states in the US, then that obviously creates a massive gap in the market for something like a sweepstakes casino product for people to get involved in, and it's you've got 350 million people in the US, to cater for.
I didn't realise that they had that there was that kind of culturally entrenched aspect to sweepstakes.
Yeah, totally. I mean, the sort of land-based sweepstakes, as Gav said, there's thousands of land-based sweepstakes halls, like live halls, where people go to play throughout the US. I think that's a massive factor as part of. It's a bit like why is bingo so big in the UK and no one cares about it anywhere else to a massive extent.
Yeah, that's true.
Well,
There's also like.
Sorry, Gavin.
I was just going to say, there's also like another side to sweepstakes, which isn't like what we know it as a sweepstakes casino. There's just people entering competitions for a sweepstake. Now, if you look at the search volumes in the US for just that style, it's absolutely massive. There's huge affiliates in that world making money off sending to a splash page where you enter a competition via sweeps and then win a prize, and encourage them to buy more entries. So that model in itself has just evolved from that to casino, and it can be evolved to other products as well, more than likely, and it probably will. But it is absolutely massive, just for the whole range of sweepstakes, not just sweepstakes casino.
Interesting you mentioned bingo there, Al, because of course famously in some US cities, I think probably primarily East Coast, but certainly elsewhere as well, bingo is like fiercely protected as a charitable gaming pursuit because the churches do it. Is there any is the sweepstake, the land-based sweepstake model, does that have any similar protections? Is it used by any similar sort of groups? Is it the kind of thing that's done by church groups in the US?
It's a question I don't know the answer to, actually, with regards to the church groups and that sort of thing. I don't think.
I'm just wondering if there was any protection to the land-based aspect of it, because everybody's piling on the AGA and all of that. They're piling on the sweepstakes companies.
Yeah.
But actually, if the model exists and has done for a long time.
The classic example, John, is McDonald's in the US.
So Monopoly.
They run the famous Monopoly, or every sports team does a 50-50 raffle at every game and things like that. So there's tons of, apart from the halls and stuff, there's tons of just like everyday examples of people using sweepstakes laws to, every online game. If you're advertising, say on Facebook, and you've got your Zynga or something like that, and you want to give away a baseball hat, you have to run a sweep to give away a real money prize or a prize of real value. You can't just give away baseball hats.
But why isn't the AGA kicking off about that? Because they can't.
Well, yeah.
Basically, yeah. Who pays for the AGA, right?
I don't know what you could mean.
Show me.
You're not talking about vested interests, are you?
Well, show me on the bear. That's what you were going to say, isn't it?
No, it was. I can't remember what it's. What is it? Show me your show me your source of funding. I'll show you your motivation. I think there's a pithier way of saying it than that, but that's what it boils down to. So
I like show me on the bear better.
All right, so you've got a pure play social casino product. You've got a sweeps product.
Yeah.
Let's take a step back a little bit, because obviously, there's a bit of a journey before you guys got here. So what's your, what were you doing beforehand? What was the, you woke up one morning and went, right, this is how we're going to change the world. What happened there?
I mean, for the last 6 years, I've been running an agency. in the iGaming industry called Mustard Digital.
Okay.
Cheeky little plug there for my business. But essentially, we were working for one of the sweepstakes operators as a client for the agency business. And so then we started to get into it, started to look into the sweepstakes model even more. And as part of that process, actually, this particular client had a less than perfect platform that he was on at that particular point in time.
Sure.
He suggested, would I be able to assist him with finding an alternative platform? I had a look about, and it was just really hard to find anything that was any good, Which was when I gave my long-suffering chief tech guy a call and says, "I've got a bit of an idea, mate. How do you fancy doing a speech platform?" So that's where it all came from originally. So yeah, I mean, I've ran Mustard Digital for like 6 years, and before that, I was CMO at Bigo Group, and so I did a lot of my history. Really is kind of B2C marketing, really. And obviously, in the agency, used a lot of platforms of varying qualities across the industry for various clients. So had a fair idea of platforms.
Got it. Okay, so it's client-led demand. Hey, we need a platform. You've got a team. Like how big's the company? Like how does what were when you started looking at platforms or competitors and kind of understanding where is it that you guys are like, okay, this is where we're doing it differently. This is where we're doing it better. How did that come about?
Well, I think there's in the world of real money and crypto, you've sort of traditionally got two types of platforms, haven't you? You've got turnkey solutions and white label solutions. Obviously, white labels, people typically kind of want to run all their marketing and do all their acquisition, but ultimately leave most of the other stuff to the platform provider. They plug it in and away they go. And then you've got the turnkey guys that want to run their whole front end. They want to run all of the operation, the support, acquisition, retention, third-party systems, all of that stuff, And I think that we sort of sit in the middle of that because sweeps is a pretty nuanced thing, as an industry.
Yeah.
And personally, at CogniPlay, we don't believe that either the pure turnkey solution model is optimal, and we likewise don't believe the pure white label model is optimal either, because in the case of the white label stuff, well, to have an effective sweeps product and have effective payment processing for sweeps as a good example, well, then you need a US entity that is running that business and a US bank account that is essentially doing, onshore, properly done banking and payment processing. In order to get the sort of approval ratios that you need for transactions to compete with some of the big companies. But for all of the other services like games provision, integrations, third-party systems, whether it be affiliate systems or CRM or KYC or GeoIP systems or whatever, but we can provide that as a white label platform, So I think that's where we sort of sit on it. There's a lot of back-end platforms, Sweepx or Omega Systems as examples, where really they're providing the back office, which is the platform, but then the client is typically producing the front end, doing all the deals with game providers and all of that stuff. And of course, that process then takes that customer a lot longer to get live because they're having to do loads and loads of work themselves, And with a lot of the white label platforms, they're providing everything, including payment processing, but most of those payment processing solutions are offshore, which carries with it, a lower approval ratio, and it carries a hell of a lot more risk as well for that particular client. So we sort of sit in the middle of those two things because we think it personally that it's the optimal setup for people in this specific space.
Got it. So you can get me onshore payment processing, white label solutions, but then if I want my front end or have I understood it correctly? Where I can
so with the front end, I mean we provide the front end. We've got that obviously all coded, ready to go for new clients for the front end. We do have clients that want pretty heavy customizations on that, but that's fine. for those guys, it's obviously a case of just specking up those front ends and wireframing them, getting them recoded and redesigned and put up. So we can do either of those things really. We're
Got it.
pretty flexible on that.
Got it. And are you live with anybody right now?
Yep. So we're live with one client at the moment. Spinfinite.com is live currently.
Got it. And how's that going?
Yeah, good. They've been live for about 4 or 5 weeks now.
Nice.
They're doing pretty well so far. I think they're pretty
Just at the soft launch phase now, so it's getting interesting daily, looking at the numbers and whatever. So that early day where you see it, it's really nice to see.
Is it the first thing you check when you wake up?
pretty much. Yeah,
Pretty much.
It would have made me laugh until I pissed my pants if you'd gone, oh, it's a fucking disaster. It's all gone wrong. We're learning so much.
It's taken this long to build it. Well, we originally started, because we were working on this other sweeps brand a few years ago, we originally started by thinking we might just do our own brand, and that's what we were building initially. And then, because it takes so long and there's so much to do it, it led to the B2B play, because what we built was so good, it made sense to do that model rather than just do a single brand. For ourselves, and now we don't do any B2C, so that's where we also differentiate ourselves, because we're not competing with everybody else in the market. We sit neutral and just provide the platform, and that's our key goal, to make it as good as possible for the actual purpose of what it is. And it was built from the ground up for sweeps, whereas a lot of people have just taken the existing real money and gone, okay, we're pivoting to sweeps now. Whereas we've gone, there was nothing there, and it's just come straight up for sweeps and sweeps alone. And social.
That must be a thing. It must be really common where they've just taken a real money platform and then shoved in a sweeps thingy. But
it's becoming common.
It's not quite. It's not like if you build from the ground up, you can actually deliver a very different experience, and it's just more integrated.
Exactly. I mean, there's obviously a lot of sort of nuances, particularly with the coin ecosystem. With gold coins and sweeps coins and that sort of stuff. And a lot of what we've seen from other providers, or what we've heard from other providers, is that they're sort of slightly lacking in those areas where actually, your visibility as an operator of the sweeps, knowing your coin ecosystem, what's the situation with gold coins, you've obviously got sweeps coins and redeemable sweeps coins, theoretically, and knowing kind of the ecosystem of all the stats to do with each of those coins is actually pretty important for running an effective sweeps operation, But because we built it from scratch, it's those kinds of things that for sweeps. Then you can...
And how does that? Because I've no actual experience with a sweeps casino. So I play Brawl Stars with my son, right? So it's the Finnish guys, the Clash of Clans guys type game, and they've got coins, gems, points, and trophies, and they all do different things, right? And gems are the key thing that kind of drive everything, and gems are worth the most. What does a typical coin ecosystem is a great expression. What is a coin ecosystem, and how does it all interact?
Well, I mean, you fundamentally got 3 coins, right? You've got the gold coins, which are the free to play coins that people are buying packages for. You've got sweeps coins that people get for free as part of those package purchases. But those sweeps coins are actually 2 different statuses, really. Because you've got sweeps coins that are given to people that haven't been turned, because the user's got to turn those coins once from a legal perspective. They have to turn the coins once for them to then be redeemable. Because obviously that's the point of the entry, really.
Yeah.
So then you've got 3 statuses. You've got gold coins, you've got unredeemable sweeps coins, and redeemable sweeps coins. And so of course the redeemable sweeps coins numbers really represent your potential liability. It's like a bank, isn't it? Kind of covering deposits with a certain percentage of assets, essentially, or gold or whatever. And it's the same kind of theory. It's very unlikely that all of your customers are simultaneously on the same day going to redeem all of their sweeps coins, but in theory they could, and that really is your liability. So it's a bit like running a bank in that sense, is that you need to be aware of that liability. So
got it.
That's where the sort of that's where the coin ecosystem is.
Understood. So, and then the redeemable coins are redeemed for cash, golf balls, T-shirts? Like, how does that work? Like, what's the?
Yeah, I mean they're redeemed for money. Yeah. So
Okay,
there's different obviously payment solutions, and whether you're redeeming to push to card or back to bank transfers or whatever. There's
got it.
various options with the payment processes we use, but yeah.
And then in terms of like the games that the players are playing, like, is it stuff we'd recognize? Is it specific to the product? Is it different? Like, how's that go?
Yeah, we've got integrations with quite a few game providers. I think there's about 20 live at the moment. We're good for about 1,000 games at the moment.
Okay.
We've got 2 more that have been finished. They're in testing at the moment this week, actually. But I think we're generally going to be looking to do a couple a month. Game provider integrations.
And is it mostly slots? Is it table games?
Yeah, mostly slots. The next one actually in the pipe is a live casino.
Oh wow! Okay.
That's quite an interesting subject in of itself in Sweeps.
It must be tough because of obviously the margins on live, like the cost for live dealer.
Yeah. I mean, it's one where sort of we don't necessarily recommend it to clients.
Sure.
It carries a lot of risk with it, but it depends on the client and what their view is. I mean, some people will see the marketing opportunity for live casino, for example, to be bigger than the risk of the mathematics on sweeps coins and table games. So that's on them. But yeah, just one client in particular has asked us to integrate some live casino products. So that's what we're doing for them. Yeah.
Got it. And is there an ideal? Because obviously when you're selling, particularly selling white label products, it's always, like I've seen it happen before, it's always tricky. Like the client comes in with a dream and a vision, and they're going to do this and they're going to take over the world.
Yeah.
And then, they badger you guys for this perfect product, and they've been customizing it and tweaking this and tweaking that, and then you push it live, and then they don't know what to do. Like, how do you? Am I wrong?
I don't know. I think we've sort of screened our clients carefully, let's say, and I think every sort of contract we've entered into so far with the deals we've signed, there's been a vested interest that we know we'll probably both work together. They've got proven history within the gaming sector or similar.
That's my point.
So I do think, the one we've actually signed with, we're pretty on board that everyone can do as expected, basically, and deliver. Yeah.
Because obviously with these kind of casinos, so obviously like if it's a traditional online casino, there's certain marketing channels. With Sweeps, particularly in North America, your marketing mix is actually slightly different in terms of what's available to you, be it, say, Facebook ads or other channels that a lot of traditional online casino guys, particularly if they've been in regulated markets or unregulated markets, wouldn't have a lot of experience with. So is there like a lot of, like, in terms of the marketing mix, is it very similar, or is it like, no, it's like mostly mobile ads and lots of stuff going on there, or actually Fintan 90% of the marketing budget is going to affiliates? Like, what's the balancing act there?
It's fairly similar. I'd say most of the weight of spend goes to meta ads at the moment. Okay. That's definitely the place to acquire. I think affiliates are doing about 20 to 30% of the volume at the moment as well. So between those two, you could seriously get thousands of players a week, like depositing easily. The volume is there. There's other places people are doing it, in-app stuff. If they've managed to get an app in the App Store, mostly that's sending it to a social casino in the App Store and then pushing it to mobile web to play the sweeps element, because it generally isn't in the App Store. It is for some, but not everyone. You still do a bit of the old school marketing, email, maybe SMS if you can get it through, and postal. And display seems to be fairly popular as well.
Okay, that's interesting.
But there's been reports people might look at doing TV. Apparently someone's doing TV out there, so that was news to us a few weeks ago.
No,
but there's definitely enough.
That was there was somebody running TV in California last year.
Yeah, I think that's what we heard. Yeah,
before, like
Vegas were doing California with Paris Hilton, actually.
Really?
I think so, yeah.
There's the Vigo connection. Nice. Yeah, small world.
Takes me back. Yeah. But I think I did read this morning actually that Google are updating their policy for sweeps and social on April the 14th. Actually, so not a million miles away, but they're changing their policy to kind of essentially separate out the accounts, because obviously sort of people are running like paid ads on Google at the moment as social casinos selling to a social / sweeps product. I think the change in policy is that they're changing the social governance policy to separate out that, so they won't be able to run ads that do that. Now they'll only be able to run ads either for sweeps or for social. I need to read through the actual policy itself.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yes,
it depends how you set up as a brand, though, doesn't it, Al? Because some are operating a bit loosely, let's say. So they don't have not having KYC. There's no player tools to restrict play and just be sensible, and things aren't processed in the right way. I think because we're from the background we're in, where we've been a lot in regulating real money, our platform does have all of that. We've got full KYC suites, like really good geolocation to make sure nothing bad can happen. We're almost operating like a regulated side.
Yeah.
So we think we're going to have less pushback on when our brand gets reviewed for these things, or our platform, let's say. We should have less pushback because everything which they expect to see is already there. Whereas there's a lot that don't have this stuff. They're just operating how they can at the moment.
We have responsible gambling tools. We have you can set your purchase limits. You can have a cool-off period. You can self-exclude. Nice. We've taken all of that stuff from our experience in regulated and applying.
So it's a more longer-term view rather than a cash grab, so to speak.
Definitely.
We're just trying to offer a platform that is as responsible as a real money casino.
And I suppose the challenge there would be, some kid working for Google India who's doing this policy, like doing this platform review. Do you think they'll be able to tell the difference?
We get certified as well, so we have to send the platform through certification, and they check.
Oh, really?
KYC and things like that. Yeah.
Who's certified? Is it like a GLI type thing, or?
Yeah, it's basically third-party controls audit. Yeah, so every one of our clients and their sites goes through the third-party controls audit.
Okay, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I like that. And then where do you obviously it's still early days, you've got a client live, you've got more clients on the way, signing deals, adding more games, but where do you see, if we look kind of down the road, say 5 years time, where do you see this business evolving to?
I suppose that for us this year, it's about getting some high quality sweeps brands live in the US and also trying to bring on board some social casino clients. Personally, I sort of think that obviously affiliates have had a pretty rough time in the last couple of years with Google updates and all sorts of other stuff going on. So there's quite a lot of affiliate companies out there, I think, looking for new revenue streams. And I personally think that a pure social casino as a global product for an affiliate business can be a very effective tool in their armory, not only for generating new revenue stream, but also for data collection and various other elements that would be useful to them, So hopefully we can sort of start bringing on board some social casino clients as well. But other than that, I think it's kind of making sure that our sweeps product this year is really robust and really competitive in the market. I definitely want to sort of start adding in terms of gamification and personalization of experience for users and that sort of stuff. That's kind of what I want to focus on this year, as well as looking at adding other products. So we are going to be adding bingo relatively soon. Talking about bingo earlier.
Okay.
And then we're looking at other products as well, poker and sports as well, and seeing how that might fit into the product. So I think that's it for this year. Really, just focus on doing those cool things really well. As for longer term, there's plenty of ways that we can pivot. Really, obviously, we can sort of go the other route, which is turning a sweeps platform into a real money or a crypto platform down the road potentially. There's lots of different routes, and there's also, of course, the route of looking at offering a sweeps platform in other markets. Naturally, that involves going to find lawyers in various countries and asking them for their legal opinion to do with the local kind of sweepstakes and prize draw legislation in their particular country. Naturally, you want the backing of a legal firm that would be happy to provide you with that and give you guidance and kind of their opinion that the sweeps product is viable in that market.
Yeah.
And go down that route as well. So I think that's where the thinking's at the moment.
Okay. The affiliates is an interesting one. So obviously, there's lots of affiliates in America targeting sweeps right now.
Yeah.
And, if you look at any of the big websites and what they're optimizing for, they've been doing it for a while.
Yeah.
But obviously, or particularly if you're looking at, say, the SEO guys, typically affiliates are good at one thing. So if you're an SEO affiliate, you're good at SEO and you're probably rubbish at everything else. And then if you're a good, PPC affiliate, you're great at PPC or at Google AdWords, whatever, and you're rubbish at that or rubbish at everything else. If you're the Facebook affiliate, you're great at Facebook. And so everyone's got their track. And it's very rare where you get somebody who's doing multiple channels to a high standard.
Yeah.
I think what's interesting is, do you guys think affiliates appreciate how big the opportunity? Obviously, if you look at, say, search, it's quite easy to quantify.
Yeah.
But do you think the search guys, for example, understand how big the meta opportunity is, or the mobile app store opportunity, like those other bigger mass market reach stuff, which they typically don't have access to in other countries, or for real money products in general? Do you think they really understand how big the opportunity is basically the question.
I'd say they probably do, but at the same time, each of their own channels in sweeps at the moment, the volume is that huge and the opportunity is that big right now. I don't think they need to pivot away, because I think there's enough on the table for each in their own right to be very, very successful. And I hear that from numbers just from like the guys I'm close with who are in the affiliate space, and it's a meaningful proportion of their overall earnings already. And in some cases, I think it's the top earning area and some of these are quite huge.
Oh, look,
so it's that big, right?
I could point out a few where it's probably been propping them up and hiding a lot of stuff for the last few years. That's pretty obvious. We won't name names, but we know who they are. Okay, that's it. So basically, just look, it's such a big thing. It really doesn't matter. Just crack on, do your thing, and then
now it's the boom. Basically, the volume is just, it's as easy as it gets. Like we always refer to it as, remember when online casino, like 15 years ago now, when everyone started launching white labels, and you pretty much couldn't fail. You could pretty much launch one. You do affiliates and you do the standard channel, PPC, and everything else. You just made money. That is sweeps right now.
Got it. And why did it take so long for it to be a boom? Because obviously the Australian guy, what are they called? The Australian guys?
VGW. Yeah,
they've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden the dam broke.
Yeah,
like relatively recently. Like what took so long?
I think it was the noise of regulation, and everyone was focused on following the regulated space, to be honest. And I think it just totally went under the radar. Everyone had sights on New Jersey, didn't they, from 2016, 2017 when it first went mad. And then sports came in, and everything just came at that time, whereas I think it just went over the radar. But they had an exceptional run, let's say.
They did. When you can afford a sticker on the Ferrari F1 car, you know you're hitting peak.
Yeah, we all wish we would have taken more attention back then, put it that way. But I do think a lot of us were blindsided and we're looking elsewhere, because that's what I think the answer is.
Got it. All right, that makes sense. All right, and if people want to kind of follow up with you guys, have a demo of the platform, check stuff out, how should they find you?
Yeah, you can go to our website, CogniPlay.io, or send us an email at just info@CogniPlay.io.
Have you chaps been watching Cobra Kai?
No.
I may have watched the first season. It's the boxing, not the boxing, the kickboxing on Netflix, was it?
Karate,
sorry. So maybe not. What have you got?
I'm just wondering, because the final episodes dropped recently, like the last ever episodes, and they were really good. And I've got nobody I can talk to about it because Fintan's not up to date.
Sorry, I've been.
We're failing there as well. Then
I've gone down the Yellowstone rabbit hole.
Fintan, I think that there is a lesson here, right? So I am fully up to date on Cobra Kai, and you're all top gambling industry executives. and you're not up to date on Cobra Kai.
Do you think
Could be a
that's
lesson there.
coincidence?
Could be a lesson.
I think there's something there. If I bet you, if I go on LinkedIn and I do a search for, the secrets of successful people, watching all of Cobra Kai will not be one of their secrets. It won't be got up at 5 a.m., meditated while watching Cobra Kai.
Daily journal, 1 episode.
That'd be fun. I kind of really want to succeed just so I can fucking write that now.
But then you could do because of the lessons from Cobra Kai, like one of the dojos is their motto is strike first, strike hard. Or strike hard, strike first. Did I get that right, John? Which way did I go?
Yeah, isn't it strike hard, strike first? Strike first, strike hard, no mercy.
Yeah, bite like an eagle or something.
That's it. That's it. Eagle Fang.
Right, so there is like a David Goggins style, like, you're in the mirror, you're fucking chanting this at yourself while you do push-ups or something like that. Like that, you could turn this into a motivation.
Who's David Goggins?
Only the hardest man in the world. I'll send you some videos.
Okay, don't. But I was thinking Gareth Cheeseman, but I don't know whether that'll mean anything to anybody else here.
It sounds like a real Wallace and Gromit time name.
So
Does he like
obviously everybody here is familiar with Alan Partridge.
Yes.
Of course, I live in Norfolk.
Okay, so fresh off the Partridge success early doors, Steve Coogan did a series of like one-offs with different characters, and one of them was a salesman called Gareth Cheeseman.
Oh, right.
And there's just this phenomenal little excerpt from it where he's just geeing himself up in the mirror, and he does sound a lot like Partridge, but that might be a Steve Coogan thing. But he's looking in the mirror, he's going, "I'm a tiger, rah!" It's fucking great, and I do that most mornings.
Do you? Yeah. So you
With
don't
the
do
voice.
the meditation at 5 a.m. You just get up and do that. Do the Gareth Cheeseman.
Exactly. I'm an eagle with fangs, rah!
Do you find it works? Do you find you feel like totally pumped after that?
I find that a couple of actual Partridge quotes are seriously motivational. Lynn, I've got my foot on a spike. And you think that's bad? I had a fat back. Those two are both hugely motivational to me.
What about Smell My Cheese? Do you remember that episode of Smell My Cheese?
I do.
It would have been really funny if you just left them hanging there.
It's like a round of cheese and says, "Smell my cheese." What?
I think, given my behaviour at various points in my life, that if I were to walk around saying "smell my cheese," I would probably be lynched. It would be like burning pitchforks and angry villagers, basically. Yeah. But, I might give it a go. Fintan, if I'm not here for the next episode, somebody smelled my cheese.
Fair enough.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us on this episode. It's been a pleasure.
No, it's been great.
Yeah, cheers for having us on.
Thanks, guys.
If you've enjoyed this episode of the Gambling Files podcast, please find us on LinkedIn. Give us a big, juicy, succulent like. That nearly went wrong. You can find us under the name The Gambling Files Podcast. You can find us on Twitter under The Gambling Files. I think the handle is just @GamblingFiles. You can connect to myself, John Bruford, or Fintan Costello, also on LinkedIn. We're also both on Twitter. And you can find all of our previous episodes at www.thegamblingfiles.com. If you enjoyed it, please share, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your colleagues, and we'll see you next time.